This will be Matthew 24 to whatever, and we're going to start out. This is part 21. There's a windy storm that's going to come up on the lake, and then two men having demons will meet Jesus. So let's get to the text here. How come it didn't come up? Oh, I got to click that. Oops, lights. All right, now the lights are up. Okay, this is where left off the last one by bringing this verse down to this verse to read correct order. Jesus gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake, and they got into a boat. Now, what I want to do is I want to go over where where they are at. Don't pay attention to all this stuff here. Just keep an eye down here on the map. Now, the text is telling us we're in Capernaum, but we know that this is now leaving after he went to Peter's house, and down here is where he picked up Peter and healed his mother-in-law. Now, what it's doing is that he's out walking, so either he went down to the lake or whatever, but the object is he's going to go across to this area, to this city here, but this is also called the other side, meaning that it's a different region. By region, I mean to show you this here text, or this map, and this map gives the three regions, and you know I've changed the regions if you've been following, and I'm calling this Jordan. This one is Israel, which is actually the promised land kingdom of Israel, and down here they had Judea, and I called it Judah, representing the nation of Judah. And we're up here in Galilee, so this is kind of the starting point for where are we at here in the story. Now, we don't know where they went to the boat yet. They just know that here the text is going to say well, as you can see down here, I didn't need the word behold or the a. There arose a windy storm. I can't say the word great storm for the simple fact that it could be a raining storm type of thing. It could be a torrential downpouring of rain. But the object is that it doesn't speak about rain, so I'm going to put in a windy storm because the sea was covered, or the boat was covered with waves. Okay. Here the boat is covered with waves. So now we know it's windy. Now let me go back to the map here a second before I get too far away from here. Let me bring up a different map. Lake Galilee is actually pretty large. It's probably about 9 miles. If you put a circle out here, it's probably 9 miles. It might be a little bit longer than 10 miles this way, but 10 mile lake is just what I want you to understand the size of the lake. I've been on a 10 mile or 10 mile lake, or open for 10 miles, like a round lake. And it's almost like any wind comes up and it turns into a whitecap after the wind is there for like 4 miles on the lake. You can be at one end and it's fine. You go to the other and you can't exist out there. But here the boat was covered with waves, meaning was it really just hard waves, or was it whitecaps? Okay. And to describe windy storm, more or less, we're referring to whitecaps. Okay. It says that Jesus was sleeping, okay? He himself, don't need that. Don't need this double text here. Just Jesus. No, we know he was asleep is what they have. And I would use the word sleeping. And I wouldn't say what was covered with waves. I would say it was battered with waves. And they woke him and said, "Save us, our Lord, or we will perish." I changed the word from perish to drown because that's what happens when you're out there on a water. You're most likely going to drown. The word perish is just not a very good word to be used. The word drowned is more precise and more or less what they would have said at that time, not perishing. Or we will drown. So here the text is saying, well, cleaned up. There rose a windy storm, and the boat was battered with waves, but Jesus was sleeping. They woke him, saying, "Save us, our Lord, or we will drown." Pretty simple cleanup. Now here, the text is going to say, "Why are you timid, you men of little faith?" Now, I don't think Jesus says things sarcastically or condemningly. And so here, this is almost like he's condemning them for, why are you so timid and you have little faith? Yet Jesus has just picked his disciples up, and they are expecting their king. So they're believing is their king, but he's also doing a lot of things like what a prophet would do, and that's heal people. So they know that he can heal, as he has this availed the what are the qualities of a prophet and their king, as to be he's going around and he's announcing his kingdom is coming. So here I didn't want to keep that condescending text there. So here because here it's like he's expecting them to go and do what he is going to do. And if you were a person of to able to do the calming of the wind in the lake, you as a fisherman, you'd be pretty popular. So, but here, that kind of question Jesus asking here means that he would be expecting them to have now the overconfidence to be able to command the wind from stop and the waves to stop working or moving. So he stood up and rebuked the wind, not winds. There's only one wind. Although I know when you're out there and like sailing, you can see that there's a wind, and there'll be another gust of wind that'll happen, that you get gusts within the wind. I'm not going to get that particular. I just want to say this wind is consistent as a windy storm. And he rebuked the wind, and the lake became calm. The word perfectly doesn't need to happen instantly there. I don't think that is how it happened, but I think the wind died down, and then the lake became calmer. The men, but we know they're just not men, the disciples, and they didn't marvel and say, "What kind of male is he?" They asked each other, is the way I needed to add the words each other here. The disciples asked each other, "What kind of male is he?" For the simple fact I was just telling you that he had the qualities of a prophet, but he's also the promised one as our king in heaven. I must have ate something that's got my voice kind of held back from being clear. Sorry. So this is what they're trying to figure out, that is there a male that in our history of our knowledge among us that he's, why can he command the wind? Okay. For that is even the wind obey him. Now see, they got the word sea, but Jesus just only rebuked the wind, so he didn't say anything to the sea. So the wind, and then the lake became calm. So it comes down to he stood up and rebuked the wind, and the lake became calm. The disciples asked each other, "What kind of male is he? For even the wind obeyed him." So this is part of the last text here, combining with this text as being one story. So now we're going to have Jesus going to the other side, and they're calling it a country. Okay, here. They're calling this a country, and this is what they're naming as the country. Now, we know, let's see, we know in the text that they are regions, and if we're coming over here, this is the region here, not a country, okay? So there's deception going on in the text itself. When they know it's a region, they call it a country, and I'm using the word Jordan to make sure that it's corrected. And two men that were demon-possessed met Jesus, and they came from the tombs. I have the word graveyard here. So let's take a look real quick again here. I needed to add the word they, got to the other side, corrected the word country to the region, Jordan, and there were two men demon-possessed, met not him but Jesus, and they came from the tombs. Now, the word tombs is, you got to understand, is just one place. The tomb is where the body is laid on these carved out out of the rock or hillside or whatever. They laid the body on what's known as a tomb, and there would be many of them in there, would mean tombs. Now, so the thing here is I don't think they were in there, okay? I think they were in the graveyard because they were demon-possessed. They don't need to be in the tombs. The tombs are something that is where the body that they think is dead is laid temporarily to make sure that he's dead, or that body is dead, because a lot of times the body would be dead, look dead, but then a day or two later, you can awake from this semi-coma state and be alive. Well, they knew this, so that's why they weren't burying people that quickly. That's what these tombs are for, is this place where they would wrap up the body, lay fragrant herbs or spices around that would keep the bugs away. And being that it was in this tombs area, they would roll a great big rock to keep the bigger animals out. But now the text I'm saying that I'm getting rid of here is they were exceedingly violent. When we don't know if they were violent or not, and it says that no one could pass by that road. Now, this is actually, remember, Jesus is on a boat and he's pulling up to the other side, which would have been this where their fishermen were coming down from that city that I showed you on the map. And they were coming down, and this graveyard is off to the side of the one side of the other. Well, fishermen were going by there every day, so how could they not pass by that road? See, when it says no one could pass by that road, that was just not truthful. I can't see that or reason out why that would be truthful. I'm more pretty much told you my reasonings behind why that is not needed in the text, or actually is false in the text. So when they got to the other side, to the region for Jordan, that's the Jordan, two men that were demon possessed met Jesus. They came from the graveyard. Okay, now we can see that there's these just the two guys that were demon possessed going around, living in the graveyard. Now, they said, "Behold," they cried out, "what do we have to do with you, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before our time?" Okay, one, we don't need these words here in blue, but I do need to add the word "we" here. Now, to get rid of the word "you" and then define what "you" is, their son from YV. He's known as the one that was supposed to come from our Creator, prophesied by our Creator through Nathan and Daniel, that they're going to have a king in heaven, and he is going to come to Jerusalem and walk the land, and you're going to recognize the greatest king that Israel has ever male that's ever come forth from the promised land. Now, I had to add the words "their son" from YV because you're writing this and you're trying to put yourself in the position of these demons and having to know they would be saying "their son" because he is not their son. Okay. Now, when it comes to the words, you have come here to torment us before our time. The word torment can't be used. It has to be cast. And I'm going to show you text that leads to the word cast as well. From them before our time. So the demons are actually, is there more than one demon inside each male? I don't think so. I think when we're reading demons possessed, they were both possessed by one demon. But the object is they're the ones speaking through these two men or two males, and wondering about our time before our time is up. Meaning this type would be until the body passes away, they were going to stick around in those bodies. But, so they cried out, "What have we to do with their son from YV? Have you come to cast us from them before our time?" Now, this reads quite differently here than what they had intended to do by changing around from "their son," but the object is that we know that those demons are not going to go to heaven. So now let's look at the text here. And now at a distance there was a herd of many swine. Okay. Now down here you can see I'm correcting the text. Don't need this, don't need this. And at a distance a herd, I need to add the letter or the word "a," of many swine. Now, some of you city slickers don't know this, and sad to say this, but pigs are so large and so strong that you cannot control them. You can't have a dog herding them to keep them together. So there is no such thing as a herder of swine, okay? They have to be of goats or of rams, okay, to make them a herder, okay? So to keep the word herd, and being able to have these herders watch over them, I'm using the word goats, and they were grazing and not feeding. They were grazing. Now, why am I using goats instead of the word rams? Well, rams, when they eat, they actually pull up the root of the whatever they're eating. If this was a field that they were constantly bringing them around, it has to be goats, because what they do is they more or less just take off the tops and the roots there and it regrows, kind of like a mower. And so the thing here is for this to be a repeated area for them to have these this herd brought down for feeding, then that's why I'm using the word goats. Um, and they're demons, not entreated, but begged. I'm trying to get rid of the hard words or words that are just not easy enough for a 12-year-old to read and understand, but would understand. The word begs is easier to understand. And saying, if you cast us from them, let's see, here's how it's saying. It was said, or first written, if you are going to cast us out, send us into the herd of swine. Now, here it's kind of like they understood that they were going to be cast away or cast out from these demons or these men. So when I said I used the word cast up here for a certain reason, that's why. Jesus wasn't going to torment them. He never did anything like that. So that would have been the wrong use of the word. But to cast them, then they would have known, because it seems demons were able to understand that other demons were being cast out from Jesus as he was walking around the land that I've got designated as Israel, instead of the word Galilee, region Galilee. But the object is they would understand that they were cast. Jesus could cast them out. So that's why I'm using the word cast. And I don't need a lot of these little words in here. In fact, it's kind of like if is kind of like a word that how could they, if you're going to cast us out, I guess it could be okay as used as the word. I was just thinking that it might be a word like when they write something like this prophecy might be fulfilled. That's just might be as absolutely false words, but put into a text by a person who would not understand what a prophecy is. Cast them. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to read it with all that stuff in there. And the demons begged him to cast them into the goats. Okay, they aren't pigs or hogs. Okay. Now, Jesus is going to do this, but he's going to say to them, be gone. Well, that isn't what really means, not be gone, but be gone would be for them to disappear from altogether. But what we have is that action is later. So it has to be go, because he's sending them there. And they went into the goats. Then the herd rushed, it says, down a steep bank and into the lake and drowned. They didn't perish, they drowned in the water. Drowned replaces the meaning of having it in the water. But the object is to get rid of the word down a deep bank. When you're looking at the geology or geographic layout around Galilee, I'm just not aware of this steep bank as being there. So I'm thinking that there isn't just this steep bank, because that would mean that at one time over thousands of years that the water would have been up higher and then it washed away an area and then as the water receded, this land would have been higher up to go down this steep bank. And to me, that's like a 10, 15-foot drop, meaning steep and bank. And then the bank would have to be along the water. I don't see that there. I don't. So this description is really can't be trusted to be true. So, and then I didn't know, or I had to put some of the herd, because I didn't know we don't know how many demons were in each one of them. But when you have a herd of goats, I'm thinking a herd pretty much means 10, 15, like that. And if you only have a male being possessed by one demon or two demons, it still doesn't mean all the herd rushed down. So I had to add the words some of the herd rushed down, okay? Replacing the word whole herd rushed down. So just letting you know what's going on there. And the herdsman ran away and went to the city and reported everything, including the incidents of the demonomics, of the demons. It can be easily said the herdsman went into the city. It doesn't mean ran away. They probably just witnessed something that they wanted to bring the news to their city, because they just witnessed a guy speaking, and these two nuts that we knew that were in these in our graveyard all the time, and we knew that they had demons in them because they weren't speaking all the time as one-on-one, and they would always have these weird voices coming from them. Well, that would mean demon possessed. They went to their city and reported everything Jesus did, not the incidents. But the object here is add the words Jesus did. So they reported this. Now, is the word city a city? That I don't know yet, because I don't have enough text. Like I said before, I'm going to gather all the stories together. This city might be more of a village than it is a city. It's a fishing village city at that, okay? But it could very well be a city of, say, 200, 300, 400 people. I don't think it would reach the thousands, but I think it was a city would have been a very good word to be used at this time. So the city. And like I said, when I brought up the map, yeah, okay, and said, okay, down here, this is the city that's later mentioned, okay? And they do have it located pretty much near the seashore itself, or the lake shore itself. So now we know that it's probably within a quarter mile, okay, is where they lived from where this is actually happening. So we have pretty much a location of where this happened. And that's important to know, that to be able to relate the story to an area is, in my eyes, it's very huge, because it helps us to know and to feel more of the story. You get more of trying to understand where these things were happening, what would the land layout look like, and things like this. And if they ran to their city, how far was it? Or they went to their city, more or less, instead of ran. But the object is this, to me, is a great news that we can be able to be doing this, because it does order some things and puts things into order. He can't be one place and then be down here in the next verse. Okay, and then we don't need the word behold, and doesn't need the whole village or city to come out, but many from their city, because the word whole is just not as truthful as the word many from their city. Because I'm sure someone would have said, yeah, right, I know them guys. No way that's going to happen. By the way, I'm busy mending my nets. I got things to do. Got to go out and get food tomorrow. But the object is that to make that all reasonably true, many from their city went out. They didn't came out. They went out to meet Jesus. And it doesn't need to say this, because they're already there when they have to entreated him, or they begged him to leave, not depart, but leave their area. Now, see, I've got the word region. Now it's a region. Before they were calling it a country. Now they're calling it a region. But actually, he didn't travel their whole region. He was in just that one small little area. So it's region and not country, or, yeah, it's area, not region. And then I needed to add these words. So they got into the boat and crossed over and came to a city. Now it says to his own city. Now here would be text that would be saying that Jesus is not a Nazarene, or didn't come from Nazareth, and wasn't raised in Nazareth. So here, this is kind of one of those iffy things that people try to find contradicting verses or things that when one text says this, another text will say that. Here is that contradictory verse of where Jesus didn't come from Nazareth. Okay, so story is that he come from Nazareth, so we don't need this here, his own. He came to a city. Now, let me go back here to here. Now they're on this trip coming back to the city, but right now we don't know whether he went this way and now he's going this way, or is he went from here down to here to here. So the object is the story is confusing. So if he went to his city, they would say that he went to Capernaum or Gennesaret. But the object is that one of these cities he went to is what the text is telling us now. Oh, I really got to watch what I eat before I start talking, because this is really, it's even starting to bother me with talking. Okay. And this is the text cleaned up. Yeah, I think I can talk for another at least 8 minutes, maybe. Maybe I should call it quits. Let my voice get cleaned up. Let's see what's happening. Yeah, I'm going to quit right here until my voice gets better, because we are going to now know that he's going up. When it says crossed over to a city, it has to be in Capernaum the way this story is, because Capernaum is where I'll bring down the paraplegic from the roof. And here we don't have the roof in this text, but the object is that I believe that the text is now telling us Capernaum. Okay. But I gotta watch what I eat. I must eat some sugar. Oh, I had a couple of cookies, so that's what's doing it. Gotta learn these things.